Hello and welcome back to Homeschool Together. Thank you for joining us. If you have a chance, do the best thing you can is hit subscribe down below and support the podcast and the YouTube channel today. We were in India all week and having fun, so reading some good books, eating some really good food.
Ooh, the food's so good.
And watching some great movies. So nice little combo of culture there. So let's go ahead and get into it. Grandmother's School.
Oh, this is super cute. This is about, this is actually based on a true story of a small town where the school children, of course, are going. They're learning to read and things, but the older women of the town had never been taught to read, so they actually opened a school for grandmothers. And it talks about the little girl helping her grandma to get ready for school and helping her with her homework. And it was actually a really, really neat story, and it has roots in a true story. So I think that would be cool. I didn't look up to see if there was a documentary on this on YouTube.
This feels like a...
But I bet there is.
I bet you.
So that was probably a miss on my part, but maybe you can catch if there's a documentary on it. But I thought it was a really good book, and the girls really got a kick out of it. They were like, wait a minute, Grandma. I said, what would you do if your grandma had to go to school? Would you help her get ready in the morning? And they were like, we would. Oh, we'd make sure she looked really nice for school. And
would you make pancakes for her like she does for you?
Yeah. So anyway, it's a very sweet story with really good message. So.
Binny's Diwali, a cute little story about a young girl who's got to share her culture and her holidays with her classmates who have no idea what Diwali is all about, and real cute, kind of like a little bit of anxiety about sharing culture and stuff with friends and family. It's just a fun little story about school and about culture and about differences. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's great. It gives you kind of some overviews of Diwali and the major activities and things that they do for the holiday. So I think it's a great introduction. We originally intended to do our study of India at Diwali. If you can do that, this would be a great book, and then you can go to a Diwali celebration. It just didn't work out for our timeline, but
it shifted a few weeks.
Yeah, it just didn't work out. But otherwise, that would be a really great thing to do, and then you could use this book as a great primer. I think this book could definitely step in this week for your what do you celebrate, or the celebrations around the world, or whatever book you're using to talk about different cultural celebrations. This could be kind of your fill-in for that this week if you wanted.
The Boy Who Grew a Forest.
So we've talked about some of the Citizen Kids books, The Red Bicycle, and there's a few others, Walking for Water.
Walking for Water.
This isn't a Citizen Kid, but it's the same kind of thing where a boy... It's talking about like the impact that even a child could have. So he lives on an island, and because of the rains that come, it ends up flooding the island, and it's washing away more of the land, and it's displacing more of the animals. So he decides that he's going to, bit by bit, plant a forest on this island so that it can stop this erosion from happening. And all these animals end up coming back. And this is based on a true story, which, again, I didn't look up a YouTube documentary, but I bet there is one, because this is a true story. And so I think it's really cool. It's talking about the huge impact that even children can have, and it's a great environmental story. It's got lots of cool animals in it.
Great to pair with biomes if you're doing rivers, some really big rivers in India. If you're going to pair that would be a cool one.
Right, or if you're going to do forests, I mean, this works out really well. So yeah, we did not get to a biome. This is as far as into a biome we got this week because it was a crazy week. But yeah, I agree with you. This would be a really good one to tie with a biome.
The Thread of Love.
This is so cute. This is based on a holiday where brothers and sisters make these bracelets for each other. And I don't know if everyone makes bracelets or if it's, I don't remember off the top of my head, or they just give gifts, but it's basically a celebration of siblings. And because we have siblings, or our children are siblings, and they never really appreciate each other. So I think this is a really good one.
They do half of the time.
So I think this is a really good one.
The other half of the time when they don't see, they're fighting over these toys and those Legos over there.
And this is done in a children's nursery rhyme kind of sing-song that you'll recognize when you open the book and read it. I was like, oh, we're doing this. Cool. I believe that's what this one is. I'm gonna misquote, but I'm pretty darn sure that I sang it. Yes. Frere Jacques. It's Frere Jacques, y'all. Anyways, this is really cool. Of course, our daughters loved that I sang it because you can't just read it, you have to sing it. And once you see it on the page and you hear it in your head, it's all over. So this would be good even if you want to just reinforce, especially with really young children, because this is a very simplistic book, the importance of siblings and, caring for your siblings and maybe not punching your siblings. I don't know. Maybe that's only happening in our house, but...
They all know. They know.
One one of them elbowed the other one in the nose tonight. So
Was that what the tears
there
were
was
about?
no blood, but
I'm sitting on the couch and going, is that what that was?
yeah, you know it's the hurt cry.
I know the hurt cry.
Because they were both racing to be the first one to go potty before bed. It was a race, apparently. Anyhow,
Who wins gets story
if you want to
first.
talk about sibling love and doing something nice for your siblings and appreciating them, thread of love, but I warned you about the singing, so there you go.
Desert Girl, Monsoon Boy.
This is cool, especially, again, you could be studying
You
deserts
read the
for
back.
India.
One girl, one boy, two journeys, one world.
So this is talking about peoples who live a nomadic life because either they live in the desert or they live in an area that suffers from heavy monsoon flooding. And so it talks about how they kind of, at the end, they come together. But it's a neat story because I think it's such a foreign concept for our kids to understand the concept of a nomadic lifestyle as not just something that we read about in ancient cultures, but that's something that goes on even today where people live part of the year in different places because of environmental factors or whether it's grazing animals or whatever it is.
Cultural, extreme environments and landscapes, yeah.
Right. So I think this is really great. And if you want to get a good sense of just India has so many diverse biomes too. You could get all the biomes in one country if you wanted to. So I think this is a really good one to showcase that. So I like that.
Well, Fauja Singh.
Fauja.
Fauja Singh keeps going.
This is a really sweet story. Again, a true story. And again, I didn't look it up on YouTube. I'm sensing a theme. Sorry, guys.
That's fine.
It was a crazy week at work. This is a really good story about a little boy who had difficulty walking. And he ends up not only walking, but running as an older. So he keeps kind of like breaking through barriers. People say he can't do it, and then he perseveres. So this is totally a story of perseverance, but it's a real story of the oldest man ever to run, I think, the New York Marathon or the London Marathon. He was like 100 years old, and he ran, I'm not exaggerating, I think he was 100 years old, and he ran the marathon and was able to finish it. And so...
Yeah, it's British. I think it was a London Marathon.
I think it was the London Marathon, yeah. So anyway, very cool story about perseverance and never being too old to try something new and not stopping when folks say you can't do it. I thought great messaging in this story. So I like this one a lot.
It just shames all of us couch to 5K people. Ready to read, Living in India.
Another great ready to read. They're all good. They all have the same kind of themes.
Yep.
But yeah, our 5-year-old really likes these a lot more than the Follow Me Around books.
Yeah, she does. She likes the cartoons more.
Yeah, and they have a lot of good information. So one of the things I was very surprised to learn in here that I didn't know was that they only go to school for half a day because their school has 2 shifts because there's so many students that need to go to school and not enough buildings and teachers and everything that they only go to school for half a day so that the other shift can go in the afternoon, which I thought was really interesting. So
Very cool.
I think that's one of the things that's really fun about these is I learned so much. We learned so much through reading the books and watching the videos the YouTube videos I didn't look up this week. I'm sure you watch some YouTube videos, though you always do.
We always do it. I did a little bit of the Ganges River. I always love that, kind of coming out of the Himalayas. Himalayas has always been, mountaineering has been something that my dad and I have always been interested in. Not that we do it. I'm not built for climbing, but we're always interested in that type of stuff. So we did a little bit of the rivers. I showed a little bit on the maps where a lot of my coworkers in a past life used to work in Bangalore and Chennai. And so it was really cool to kind of see that. But yeah, then we did some food. We ate out.
Right, we have a wonderful Indian restaurant in our town that opened recently, and we just want to support because it's so delicious, and we don't want them to leave.
And then we went to the local Indian market in town that's just opened in the last few months. I was able to put together a yum box of tasty treats, and so we kind of celebrated that as well.
It was really good.
And then we watched some movies. You guys watched
the kids have been watching Mira Royal Detective. If you haven't seen that, it's a super cute show on Disney. If you are doing this trekking the globe with a 5 or 6-year-old or younger in tow, Mira Royal Detective is. Mira Royal Detective. Anyway, it's really good.
And then you guys watched The Jungle Book, the newer one.
Right, the Jon Favreau Jungle Book. It's so well done.
It's beautiful.
It's beautifully done, and it's great. So especially if you want to do jungle as a biome, we were moving on to Brazil after this. Spoiler alert! So we didn't want to do jungle this week, so we were trying to find something else to do, and we didn't get anything together. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, it's a great one if you want to do jungle, and it's a fantastic movie, on Disney Plus. So we did that.
And if you're looking for some adult movies, you can do what I call the Tour de Dev Patel. And you can go Slumdog Millionaire,
Which is fantastic.
Which is fantastic. New movie that he just did this past year, which was The Monkey Man.
Which is very violent and bloody, so be prepared.
Think John Wick in India type of thing.
Right.
But also there's a movie he did a couple years ago, which I think is the best movie I've seen in the last decade or so, is Lion, which is about an adopted boy in Australia. Had Nicole Kidman in it as well, and then the path to go back and find his family. It's a true story. Absolutely tremendous movie. I always tell people
that one was too much heartstrings for me.
Too many heartstrings.
I couldn't watch it, but he loved it.
I loved it. I always tell people about that movie to watch it whenever I have a chance. Like Lion. It was up for Best Picture that year. Should have won. But it was really good.
The other thing that we watched, that not this week, but that we really enjoyed from India, was a show on Netflix called Cricket Fever. I want to say it was Cricket Fever. We'll look it up and put it in the show notes. But it's all about this team and
what's the India
the
IPL?
Mumbai,
but that was the Mumbai.
What were they called? I'm not going to remember.
They're going to be.
Anyways.
Find divorce.
Anyways, so it's a great show.
IPL, right? Isn't it? And then it was the shorter. It was the shorter. I'm going to get all the terms wrong.
We don't know anything about cricket, and this was a great series. I don't know, 8 episodes maybe. Even if you only watch one, it gives you a really good sense for how popular cricket is, and it's a shortened game, like you say, and so it's very exciting to watch the matches, and you learn a bit about the coaches and the players.
It was almost like reality TV show, sports movie.
Yeah, where the players come from. A bunch of players have very humble background, and so they went back to their homes and talked with their families. So it's really great cultural piece. Look it up beforehand and make sure there's nothing inappropriate. But I actually don't think there is anything. I don't even think this is really a very adult show. There might be some drinking and things, maybe a little language. But definitely subtitles. So that's just something to, not all of it is, but if you have really young kids, that would be hard to do because you'll be narrating the whole time. But it's a great show if you like sports stuff, even if you don't know anything about cricket. I got a much better appreciation after watching that show.
It was really cool. I think you actually kind of learn about the game as well through the show. It was really good. I loved it.
Yeah, it was really engrossing. We don't tend to get through shows very quickly. It takes us months because we're so busy. That one I think we got through in like a week. We were like, let's watch another. We were very invested. So if you don't want something heavy like one of these movies, you could definitely check that one out. We'll put a link down below.
So that was India. Wonderful time.
Yeah.
And we're moving on to, as you teased a little earlier, Brazil.
Yes.
We're going to spend a week or so in Brazil. Maybe
2 weeks.
2 weeks in Brazil.
Yeah, because we've got Carnival.
We're timing it with Carnival. If you're watching this, you're like, hey, Carnival's over. Well, that's how we roll here.
Sorry.
Roll in the future. That's what we do. But we'll be there for the next 2 weeks, so stay tuned.